Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Political No Brainer, the podcast where we move past winner takes all politics and into real conversation. I'm excited today to be here with I like to call them the A team. I'm here with Charlie Heinemann, Kevin Howard, and Beth Burrows will be joining us soon. And guys, we had some topics we picked out. One's the exciting topic of tariffs, and the other is the exciting topic of Iran. A lot of stuff going on here. And let's start with tariffs and then we'll get into Iran. The Supreme Court basically shot down Donald Trump's tariffs. He immediately disagreed. They did not shoot them down. He said they gave him other authorization to go on to other tariffs, and he's going to go ahead and do that. So again, and I think he does have a right to do it for 150 days. But the question remains: are the tariffs working? Are we seeing jobs coming back to America? My general feeling is no, we're not seeing that. The other thing is too, I get it, we're not in a constitutional crisis because he he's gonna maybe implement this new set of tariffs that's only good for 150 days, and then they would need congressional approval. But again, we go down this rabbit hole if Donald Trump's going to do as Donald Trump does. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think, Kevin, if you go back to our earlier podcast, I mean, Kevin gave us a pretty dead-on preview of this when he said, most likely these are going to be found by the Supreme Court not to be legal, and that they have a backup plan ready to go as soon as it happens. And as I'm watching, I was thinking, Kevin, I'm like, that's exactly what he said. Like they had it rolled out, ready to go. And Trump, being Trump, of course, announces it like, oh, this is actually better than, I mean, yes, the flexibility is what he lost, and his ability to use it in his bullying tactics with other countries. He loses some of that flexibility. But like I said, not surprising. I wasn't surprised at all. I don't know about y'all. A little bit surprised by the breakdown of the vote, but.
But like you said, I mean, this is no when he came up with the plan B, this is no just off the top of his head. I mean,
No.
plan B was in place. I mean, he is in coordination with the Heritage Foundation and all sort of, I guess we call them neocons now, all sorts of people that have been waiting for this moment in time. And not to get onto Iran, I want to stay on tariffs, but Netanyahu's been waiting for this president to lead by the nose too. And so we've got this extreme movement in America, but is there any benefit to it? Is really my question. I mean, I don't see jobs returning to America.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, you just combined a couple of issues, Coach. But
Well, I want to stay on
staying on,
tariffs, but I was just
yeah,
saying, I
staying on
think everybody was just waiting for this moment in time where we've got this president, the world's $1 trillion crash dummy, and they've got him. They've got him in their pocket. They're willing to utilize him, and he's willing to be used. And people are calling it transactional. I just think it's vengeful. He loves the revenge.
Well, it's kind of laughable too. Like every time something comes out that it's so predictable. And when they were talking about the 2025 playbook, this latest thing about using emergency powers to put his thumb on the scale in the midterms. I'm like, it's like they're just reading what we've been saying for the last year and a half. I mean, it's like, yeah, yes, we knew that was going to come. Yep, there it is. Okay. Now I didn't exactly see the war in Iran unfolding as quickly as it has. So, but yeah.
But again, and the war in Iran, I'm trying to stay on tariffs, but the war in Iran's just functionally dismaying to me because he's using negotiations as sort of the cover of night. He negotiates, he leads everybody to believe the negotiations are moving in a good way, and then he attacks. So you're going to lose that momentum anyway. Sooner or later, no one's going to believe in his negotiations. So,
Right.
I mean, it's great it worked twice. It's great. Some military people are saying, we've got this mid-level guy as defense secretary. No, we've got this guy that's just has no experience.
The real
And,
estate guy? Yeah, him and Kushner? Yeah. The guy who got paid $2 billion by the countries that benefit the most of us attacking Iran is the one at the negotiating table. I mean, like I said, it's like something from The Onion. It's ridiculous, and I think you're right. Like, if anyone had any faith in what he was considering negotiations, that's obviously put the end. That's put to bed now. I mean,
that's
this
done,
thing was
right?
thoroughly planned out from. They've got the next several weeks of attacks planned out. There was never going to be any type of deal.
Right.
Didn't matter what they offered. It was funny how they kept changing. They talking about moving the goalpost. It was like, what can we put in there that there's no way they can even pretend to accept? And it's basically what they were doing towards the end there. It's like it was.
And
Oh,
again, it just leads me to believe so many people were waiting patient for this moment in time to have this guy in the driver's seat, and he's so willing to drive the family car into the ditch. But go ahead, Kevin. We've been consuming the conversation. Go ahead, buddy.
yeah, no, this is great. To me, I just think this is just a part of this enormous, great revealing. In the same way that the Epstein documents have revealed and exposed a bunch of frauds across the elite class, right? How Trump functions is revealing the moral bankruptcy of U.S. foreign policy, of the international relationships we have, of American
Bill
hegemony.
Gates.
Right, of
Oh,
American hegemony, you know, and so starting with the tariff issue, yes, okay, the Supreme Court is demonstrating, and so I hope we can get to a point where we recognize that that we need to stop the nonsense of when the Supreme Court actually does something to support Trump, that they're just a rubber stamp, because no, there is limits. There is a constitutional authority of the court, and they do exercise it at their discretion, right? They're not just a rubber stamp. And this, right. So they did, there is no way they could have endorsed his use of emergency authority to impose tariffs, when the Congress expressly has this authority. So the Supreme Court, once again, restores constitutional order to the United States. Yes, yes, he has a backup plan. They've been talking about this in public. Lindsey Graham and the senator from Connecticut have been talking about this, bone crushing, tariffs against people who buy Russian oil for a year now. So okay, so yes, as his way, just as Charlie said, he's going to act like this was his plan all along, because of course there's nothing that Trump does that's not right. But see, his ham-handed way of handling it, right, is the same, is no different than the fact that George W. Bush never admits, that Barack Obama never admits, that Joe Biden or Bill Clinton never admit when they make a mistake. They always find a way to justify it. They're just better at doing it. His ham-handed way is only exposing and revealing that, yeah, the word and the negotiating posture of the United States is trash, right? No one can count on it. Over and over and over again through history, we make these agreements and we don't hold ourselves to it, and then we hold the rest of the world to it, or hold people who are not our friends to it. So this is why the rules-based order has collapsed, because it's been exposed for what it is, right? And so yeah, this last thing, attacking Iran again, but now this is, I applaud the fact that Iran said, okay, when you do it this time, we're going for broke, right? And by the way, to embrace the dirty war techniques. Again, I just hope future American leaders take note that their deaths are going to be a function of the fact that our hubris is so severe that we participate in the public assassination of foreign leaders that we don't like. Shit blows back on us, and our leader gets assassinated by a foreign power, we have lost any sense of moral ground. Right. I mean, so I'm saying, I bet you, so you could say I'm not crying for Khomeini and stuff like that. He was 86 years old. He's been running Iran since the revolution in the back in 79 or whatever. Just understand this is how the blowback comes back, right? Because I mean, the most despicable thing about our support of Israel, and the most despicable thing about the Israeli government, is the dirty war techniques. The idea of going after I mean, killing the negotiators, killing. I mean, the nakedness and the moral bankruptcy of that type of business. Because guess what? When it does come back on you. And so this is the part of what Trump is doing to destroy any capacity for any future leader to try to restore the way we were doing business before him. He is breaching all of this, right?
Well, how
And
quickly
what?
we crossed that Rubicon even farther, right? Like it was like
Yeah,
Maduro, like, oh my God, we actually kidnapped someone else's leader, and then what? A few weeks later, no, we're actually we. It's still crazy to me to
Right.
think that we
Nothing. There's
actually
no.
went in and murdered the leader. They're both their religious
yes,
and otherwise leader of 92 million people. Blew him up against me. I mean, it's just, oh my God, and the reaction, the tepid reaction by the media, by everyone, like just like, well, this is what we do now because we can. I mean, yeah, we can. We could do it to anyone who can't nuke us. We could do that to
well,
anyone,
the
just
thing
as
is
easily as they
it's
could
always
do it to us.
Charlie, it's always been this way. We've always done this.
No, no,
Obama
no. It's what I'm
engaged in
saying,
this,
but we're
but
just
we did it discreetly.
openly.
We did it covertly. We did
Yeah,
it. We did it, in very diplomatic
right. This is
ways and
no
stuff like
poison
that.
tipped umbrella. It's like, boom,
No. This
just
dates
blow
back
up
to
the
the.
entire palace.
This dates back to the initial Donald Trump argument when everybody said you're evading taxes, and when you compare when somebody said Mitt Romney was evading taxes, he ducked and hided and dodged the question. Donald Trump said it because I'm smart. I don't pay taxes because I'm smart. It's the same thing now. We're at a point now where leaders are just can do what they want, and
But that's
and
okay. But the price for just doing what you want and to
it's going to
do
be high. It's going to be
doing it
high.
in a transparent way is exactly right. Reciprocity is real. Yeah, I mean that speaks to everybody, right? You should not expect to be treated any other way than how you treat people, how you treat nations, how you treat allies, how you treat enemies. Okay, because if you look at history, there was a level of mutual respect even amongst your most severe adversaries. Cuban Missile Crisis is an example of what I'm talking about. If you lose all sense of boundary because you feel entitled to do whatever you want to do to whoever you want to do it, however you want to do it, okay, this is what you are unleashing on yourself, right? And I can tell you this much, this is the breakdown. This is the absolute destruction of the status of America as in any way the shining thing
I
on
would
the hill.
label this like probably the only time I would ever say that Trump did something courageous. He did it, I think, probably unwittingly. But I mean, to put a target on your back, 92 million people, amongst them hundreds of thousands, ready to die for their country.
Yes.
I mean, dude,
Yeah.
it
And
makes me nervous.
It
well, I can
does.
tell you
And,
that.
so we have to go back to when we think of agreements. Let's go back to the Camp David agreement. Appendix after appendix called for the West Bank to be the Palestinian state. It was never, it was dithered with, never honored, ignored. The United States signed on it. Everybody signed on, and it was never fooled with. So when we think of that, we're not coming to any new conclusions when we think of the United States as not honored its contractual agreements for as long as time. For as long as we know, the Palestinians have a right to their own state, a right to their own sovereignty, but the world has ignored that. And so that's 90% of the problem in the Middle East. Beth, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey,
So
no,
then,
jump in. We were just talking about Iran and the basic Trump using negotiations as basically the cover of darkness. You negotiate, you got the intent, you believe. I mean, there was diplomats saying we're moving in the right direction, and the next morning they wake up to we've attacked Iran. So how do is America ever going to have any credibility when it comes to negotiations after this?
no, not after this. No, I think that we've lost trust in in other countries and other countries' leaders. I think at this point, Trump can do just about anything, and we won't get any of that prize that we had before as being a nation, that the shining beacon, of hope that people look towards. I don't think we'll ever get that back, no matter what Trump could do, or any other president from this point forward. I think we've just stabbed too many people in the back at this point.
So does anybody feel like, I mean, I understand Trump supporters feel like it's a good loss. We needed to get rid of that. We just need to be America first. But are we really truly America first? We're doing Israel's heavy lifting. And if Israel falls under the weight of war for the next year and its economy starts to falter, we're going to be the ones that pick up the price tag. We're going to be the ones that bail them out. And they do often say we always pay our debts back. Do we even have the money to loan them to bail themselves out of another year or 2 year war? And with the expense of our own participation too. I mean, are we ever, so the notion was that Tulsi Gabbard was going to be the intelligence chief that gets us out of the never-ending wars, and it just seems like we're really getting into never-ending wars in a big way.
But the one thing I picked up that I didn't really realize, but been consumed obviously by watching the news the last couple of days, is that Israel's the easy thing to point at as doing the heavy lifting, but it's really the Gulf Arab states that effectively paid us to do this, right? It's Saudi, it's the people that benefit from Iran being attacked by us, the ones who paid the money, the ones who gave Jared Kushner at $2 billion, and he's stuck at this negotiating table. I mean, that's who really paid for this. That's who benefits from this even more than Israel. Which, it makes more sense now than I ever really had put together before watching everything unfold over the last 36 hours. But, they basically paid us to decapitate Iran.
And then they say they're adamantly opposed to the whole operation. I mean, pretty much the entire Arab world, the Saudi Arabia, which I can't even believe they have the balls to say they're against against the operation. But let's go back 50 years when the Ayatollah first came into power. The first Ayatollah, the Ayatollah Khomeini, he encouraged the Iranian people to grow their families, to have babies. That young generation is now 40, 50-year-olds. They're yearning for a normal relationship with America. They want to be westernized. They want to get out of this grip of religious zealots, and they want to be westernized. They want a strong economy. We had an opportunity to make a deal with Iran, to have peace with Iran. Obama started it with the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and Trump walked away from it. I mean, he said they weren't keeping up with the agreement, and they basically were. Yes, they were still sponsoring terrorism, but there was good reason to believe there was reason to work still with that agreement. Trump's the one that walked away from it. It was written in the agreement that any president could walk away from it, but that was for good reason. And now it's like Charlie just said, we're being led by the nose. This president is being led by the nose. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it, Donald Trump. It's the Arab Emirates states that are saying, let's do it this way. It's Saudi Arabia. Let's say decapitate Iran. When in fact, peace was really, truly the best option.
I want to go back to what Charlie just said about Jared Kushner and the Saudis. Are you saying that Trump is benefiting financially from this attack?
No.
I mean, like, are you saying, like, because that's one?
Yes, well, I mean, absolutely, absolutely. Look at all the money that's gone into him and his closest allies from those countries. I mean, they're trying to hide it. They hide it in this joke of a Bitcoin operation. I mean, it's a flat out, right in front of your eyes bribe to Trump to
really. You all think that?
Oh, absolutely. I do too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is one I have not. I mean, I didn't connect those two.
Yeah. Jared Kushner. I think the pattern. I think that the pattern that we should.
I never connected this attack with him killing the leader as it being. I mean, yes, everything bottom line is always money. I just, until you said that, I would have never connected those dots.
Well, because Israel's easy. It's easy to just think it's Israel. Obviously, they want this, and Netanyahu wanted this all along, and clearly they benefit. But in terms of the actual money that's changed hands in broad daylight, it's broad daylight. Those Gulf Arab countries.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and again, this is one of the things I think that we could take away is that the benefit of Trump is the transparency, right? The thing that the establishment, that the oligarchs hate about Trump and why they are not working together and for each other is that way the oligarchs do business is the Obama method, the George W. Bush method, the Bill Clinton method. In other words, everything is done very discreetly. Everything is done behind the rules of decorum and stuff like that. With Trump, he's completely exposed. It's completely transparent. You get to see just how rotten everything is, right? But he's doing exactly what they did. I mean, the idea that Clinton did not allow Glass-Steagall to get repealed, allow travelers insurance to merge with Citigroup and stuff like that, because he was expecting to get paid, and then he moves to Harlem, New York, and Wall Street then finances the Clinton Global Initiative, right? And he hands the Senate seat in New York to Hillary and stuff like that. Yeah, this is how it's done, but they do it very nicely, and we applaud because, of course, it all seems very above board. The way Trump does it is he puts world leaders in his properties and charges the federal taxpayer for their stay, and he profits directly. Yes, he's getting paid directly by Israel, $100 million by one contributor. Of course, this is all transactional and
but no one's lined his own pockets and that of his friends to the level, transparent or not, as Trump has. I refuse.
You don't think Bill Clinton,
the Obamas did not, they did not do to the level of financial, complete.
You could say Obama did not. You could say Obama did not, and that's a different argument. But I could say that Bill Clinton did is expressly, and now we can see it as publicly.
But not to the extent.
What do you mean?
The dollars aren't there.
Hold.
2 billion?
No. Historically, the greatest Democratic president, based on historians, is FDR, right? And Bill Clinton dismantled the New Deal and then went to Wall Street and got paid. As a Democrat, he did what Republicans had been dreaming of doing. It's like in terms of Glass-Steagall, in terms of deregulating complex financial instruments, unshackling Wall Street.
No, I absolutely agree.
And they pay him.
But it pales in comparison to the level.
It does not.
The numbers.
It does not pale.
Oh, come on, man.
No.
We can say Bill Clinton is not. Bill Clinton does not have a net worth of $3 billion currently.
To put Jared Kushner and who's the other guy? His real estate guy, right? Has absolutely no experience in international relations with cyber. Is it Whitcock or whatever? Him and Jared.
This
Kushner.
Is just naked. Yes, I agree. In other words, there is no even appearance of propriety about how Trump goes about doing business. I agree. That's the transparency. What I'm trying to say here is the only difference between what he's doing, and this is exactly what the Canadian Prime Minister announced at Davos in his speech, is that, we all knew that the rules-based order was bullshit, but we were benefiting from it, right? Yeah, okay, but now it's clear Trump has made it obvious that this is only about America's position. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. There's a transparency to how Trump does it. I'm not justifying anything that Trump is doing. I'm completely opposed, particularly with him attacking Iran and all this other stuff. Okay, but I'm just saying that this is not a departure from how America has done business since World War II. Right? Okay, and the only difference is the method. Is that the lie is so well covered up by the predecessors, and this is what is
Well,
This
we'll
is
have to
what.
agree to disagree on the level because
Oh,
I don't think the level's even close to
But
the
when you
okay.
think of when we disagree on the level, let me make this one point. Are we concerned that now Democrats see a new level, a new watermark, a new threshold, and they're just waiting patiently to get their hands on the keys to the family car and steal their own 10 billion? I mean, how bad is this going to get now in America?
Well,
To
the
the
thing
point
about it,
where is there going to be anything left for entitlements? Is there going to be anything left for any sense of champion the vulnerable? I get it. Maybe we should have pulled back a little. Maybe the New Deal kept growing over the course of 50 years. I get it. There was some pullback. But, and like Charlie said, you cannot compare the billions. Jared Kushner was underwater on a $2 billion project in Chicago. He paid too much, and they said the price he paid, he could never retrieve that investment for the rents that it'll demand. That building will demand. He's out of hock in that building. I mean, this started in the first term. He got the Qatar and everybody else to invest in his stuff. Now there is no, you cannot, the numbers are not there. Donald Trump is in the billions. The Clintons are not billionaires. The Obamas are not billionaires. When you talk about the level of the money, it's not there.
if you if okay, if your only argument is Trump does it at a higher level, at a bigger dollar point, fine, make that argument. But if you could look at Biden's son and the complete train wreck he is, and how he totally used his father's position to make money, it's, I mean, it is, it's
It's
naked. It's
minuscule compared to even
no,
one
no,
of
no. But
Trump's
see,
bids.
you
Yeah.
missed the point.
Minuscule.
If you missed the point, if you're making a magnitude argument,
No,
it's
you're
the
right. Corruption is
same.
corruption.
It's
I agree with you
corruption.
there.
That's okay. That's my point. My point is that what Trump is doing is that he is breaking the way this is going to be done, and what's going to be left is the way America is going to with our friends and allies as a nation amongst
You have any of
nations.
those anymore?
We're,
We
huh?
don't. We
We don't have any of
don't.
No,
those
This
no,
is
anymore,
a
do
that's
we?
new
right. We're
world.
gonna, but
We can
here's the thing.
literally, we can
The
real
great thing that
literally.
America has, no, America has 340 million people. America has an enormous amount of natural resource in our country, right? In other words, America as a nation without having to exploit everyone else is a powerful and will go on being a powerful nation, right? The problem is that the extent to which we will be able to extract the way we have historically based on being the only superpower in the last 34 years, right, has gone away. And now we're going to have to negotiate in good faith and in a context where everyone we negotiate will not believe. We have frayed our goodwill. The idea is our word will mean nothing until we demonstrate we stand by our word again. This is what he's done. He's resetting America's relationship with the rest of the world. And no, we're not going to be a despot because we are too resource rich, population large, talented, trained education system. We have a lot on a standalone basis. We're not going to be
But how much of that are we actually, how much of that opportunity are we actually seizing? Are we ever investing in that opportunity? When you talk about we have
no.
340 million talented people, and we do, America's talented, they're motivated.
Yeah.
There's the opportunity there to grow and be big financially and be but how much of that are we doing anything with? I mean, really,
Right now,
we're
we
still
haven't been
down to the
doing.
narrowest of narrow margins. The 1% of the 1% have all the wealth. And then
Yeah,
you've got
we
the 1% that have another 10%, another 90% of the wealth. So everybody else is sharing what, 6% of what's left over?
Hey, I agree with you, coach, but that is the result of what has happened the previous 50 years. We have progressively under invested in all the things that
So
make
how do
America
we
great.
get back to
Right.
that? How do we
Oh,
get back to
well,
that?
okay. After Trump wrecks the party, and that's what he's doing, he's wrecking the party in every possible way, right? Okay, so now the house is a mess. The cops have come in. He's out of office, right?
But like
And yes,
Charlie
we're
said,
going to be.
he's literally looking to reset the midterms.
Look. We
I mean, there's been
let
a lot
us
of pushback judicially on
again,
it, but
again. There is nothing he is going to be able to do to serious. Okay, I will believe it when I see it. This is not And this is not a shift, Hitler's shift from being elected to being a dictator. This is not what Trump is doing. He's at the end of his life. He's at the end of his health. No, this is no.
Charlie, Beth,
He's
does
simply
Trump have any
wrecking.
hopes?
He's
Does
simply
Trump have any
wrecking
hopes of being
how
a
the
dictator?
he's simply wrecking how the establishment,
Well, let's
who
just put the
he
question out there.
opposes.
He's way
Does
beyond that.
anyone believe that Trump has any hopes of becoming the dictator he aspires to be? Which he's made it clear he does aspire to be that.
Yes.
Beth, Charlie.
He's close. I think he's closer than any president's ever been in American history. I think that we could pretty much call him.
I think that is just. I mean, we just started this conversation talking about how the Supreme Court, right, struck down his authority to impose tariffs,
and he just imposed tariffs again. So
no. But here's
what's your point?
What do you mean?
He's going to have to go. He's going to reinstate tariffs through another version of the law.
Yes, he's going to have to go to Congress. That's the congressional
in 150 days, but there's still another 150 days.
My point being is that he is not just I'm suspending the Supreme Court and because they disagreed with me. I mean, that's like a dictator, right?
He's effectively doing that. He'll just continue. He'll work on the timeline that he knows exists now. So he'll do anything he wants to fuck with the midterms, knowing that he'll eventually lose the Supreme Court, but it'll be after all the damage is done.
Well, okay, let us see, but understand where I come from when we have an actual presidential election primary season that we went through in 2020, where Barack Obama literally called people who were, Buttigieg, the senator from Minnesota, and had them drop out when they were number 2 and number 3 in the primaries, in the Democratic primaries, in order to support Joe Biden in number 4. Okay, how you want to measure influence, right? What Trump is doing is just. But it's just naked and obvious. What Obama did on the phone, that is all now a matter of public record, right? But showed that people who were running for the presidency gave up their chance to win in order to throw this to Biden, and tell me that's not a banana republic, right? That this is all starting with Trump. This is not.
That's not even an equivalent to a dictator. That's just like a bully.
No. You're using those severe terms and calling it, say Trump does it, he's a dictator. But when Obama does it, he's what? He's the statesman? No,
we're not equating we're not equating apples to apples. And
no. But Trump has not suspended the Supreme Court. Trump has not. He's
flipped the finger to him, basically.
So has many presidents. I mean, my God. So wait a minute. How many presidents have flipped the finger to the Supreme Court to their face during the State of the Union? What are you talking about? It's not just Trump who the Supreme Court says something and he disagrees and he says something ridiculous, but he's not exercising dictatorship control yet.
The point is he's not. The question wasn't the question was not is he exercising dictatorship level leadership. The question was okay. That was not. He is not. We agree. I can almost think we haven't seen that yet. The question was, are we going to see that? And then comes the good arguments where yes, we have checks and balances in place where things are being questioned. Even the gerrymandering. He's been shot down by even Reagan nominees, and he's been shot down by his own nominees on even the gerrymandering. But like Charlie said, and Beth said, he comes back again. He strikes back again.
Of course, that's what all presidents do.
Well, I haven't seen that. So let me ask you a question. Hang on.
So does anyone consider Abraham Lincoln a dictator?
No.
When he issued out the Emancipation Proclamation, right? And he declared that the property of the Southern states. I'm a Black person talking about the property of the slaves, but legally that was the case in the South, right? And he freed them by not by congressional legislation. Okay, does anyone consider him a dictator? Just because
So
Trump
then,
exercised extraordinary presidential power does not mean that he's a dictator. Every president does it. How many members of the media did Obama take to
I
court
got
for
it.
doing their
Hang
job?
on one second. Let me make a
Right,
point. Let's
right.
make a point. 100 years or 150 years over after Lincoln exercised the Emancipation, then Chief Judge Roberts gives the president the right to be bold and decisive in his move. They rule on it. They
Right,
give him
that
that.
started with Chief Justice Roberts.
It was
No,
a
it's
ruling. It was never.
presidents are bold.
Everybody said it was not addressed until this moment. We get that. But Trump has literally like everybody says, has flicked his finger at the Supreme Court.
Every
We
president
have
does.
never seen that like this. We have never seen the total
That's not
disregard for
true.
the. We have.
Andrew Jackson. Andrew
We're talking
Jackson
current times,
taught.
though. Currently,
No, that's
currently,
what. No.
currently,
That's
because
no, no, no.
we're
You know
in
what,
a we're in a.
Coach?
The question is,
Coach,
are we?
Coach.
Can
Current
I just?
times. American history is relevant. To
It's
say,
very
I'm trying
relevant,
to.
but we're talking about.
I go back. I go back in American history to show you how this has always been this way. There are more current examples, but Andrew Jackson told the Supreme Court when it ruled in favor of the Cherokee Nation, right? But under treaty law, U.S. treaty law, we signed a treaty with the Cherokee Nation, and and the Supreme Court defended the Cherokee Nation. Andrew Jackson told the Supreme Court, you made the ruling, you can enforce it. The single most unconstitutional act on the part of a president, and that created the trail of tears that 90% of the
I've got
Cherokee
to
Nation
set the
died.
guidelines
What
that
I'm
we
trying
keep
to
this
say,
from Jimmy
what
Carter moving forward. We can't
no,
go back to
that
Andrew
that is
Jackson.
that is just
Yeah,
a factually ignorant thing to say, Coach. It's
I
absolutely.
American
How is
history.
that so? So we haven't progressed
No,
at all
no. What I'm trying to
since our
say,
president was a slave owner. That
Charlie,
everything's exactly the same.
what I'm trying to
it's
say
not.
is that presidents all through history, American history, have exercised extraordinary authority. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. FDR tried to pack the court, right? Okay, and he got shot down in the 1930s, right? Of course, there's more recent examples, right? I'm trying to say it's always been this way. If the idea that
Uh,
because Trump does it, oh, we've never experienced this. Stop clutching the pearls and read your history
oh
books,
my
and
goodness.
then come back and
To
Man.
what
come back
extent
into.
does he go
He's
that
not a
anyone?
dictator. He got
The
Say
elected
he's a
question
in a
dictator. I'm
fair
was
saying
election.
he is going to an extent. He will push it as far as the Supreme Court will let him, without any consideration of whether it's legal or not.
And
I
every
refuse to
president does
believe
that.
every.
Okay,
No,
which president doesn't do that, Charlie? Come on. That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
which
really.
president has attempted a
What did George
coup
W.
at
Bush do
the
with the torture
Capitol?
regime
How many
in Abu
presidents
Ghraib?
have gathered their base and denied an election results? How many presidents have, you know,
How many presidents? We're still debating the 1960
To
election
completely
with Richard
usurp
Nixon and
the
John
role of
Kennedy
Congress
over.
in taxing.
What
I
do you
mean,
mean?
what he did with the
We have
tariffs, that's been done even considerably
no.
close to that.
What I'm saying here is that every president exercises extraordinary authority,
Well,
right? That
you seem to
the
believe that
way the
there's no such thing as
Constitution.
degrees. This is the how people defend Trump, is that
I'm not defending Trump.
because he does it
no.
nakedly
He's
out in
not
the
saying you're
open,
defending
No,
him.
degree doesn't
I'm
matter.
not defending Trump.
Degree
I
does
am
matter.
saying no.
Degree
I'm
does
saying
matter. It
my
does in
point.
so many
Yeah,
reasons.
no.
For so
If
many
if
reasons.
the
Let me make
degree
this one
matters,
point.
if all you're trying to do is be right, I am not just trying to be right. The point is that he's exposing how America does business by being so stupidly
Okay,
transparent.
that's a whole
Right?
nother
That's what
point, though.
he's.
Let me make one
Okay,
point.
that's what I'm
Hang on.
saying. It's how we've always
Pause.
done business.
Okay. Let me make one point. Everybody's made this point. He argued the election results. I've made this point before. I'm proud to be a party that accepted the election results.
Didn't we argue
Hang on, hang on.
in Bush
The
v.
election,
Gore?
hang on.
Didn't we
Yes,
argue
and
the
I'm
election?
making that
Okay.
point. Let me make that point myself. I don't need help with this. In Bush versus Gore, the election was decided by 261 votes, I believe is the number. 261 votes. That was the question in Florida. The president was good friends with the Secretary of Florida State. He was brothers with the governor of Florida. I get it. You want to talk. Let me finish. When the Supreme Court ruled, Al Gore packed his shit and went fucking home. Donald
I
Trump,
admire Al Gore for
Donald
doing that.
Trump
Yes.
raised over 100 cases in different courts. He was, let me finish. He literally was on the phone with the Secretary of State in Georgia saying, clearly, you can find me 12,000 votes. So let's talk about degrees. In Florida, it was questioned by 261 votes. In Georgia, he had the balls to be recorded on a phone call by saying, clearly, you can find me 12,000 votes. So let's call that call it AI. It's not true. He acknowledged the phone call. So when we're talking about levels, when we're talking about audacity, when we're talking about a desire to be a dictator, the only question I asked was, does he have that desire and is there that possibility? Now, granted, he's getting older. Now, granted, his time may be up. Now, granted, even if J.D. Vance is elected president, he will not have the gravitas Donald Trump does. But are we in a position where this could happen someday? Somebody
Hey,
younger.
Coach, you know what? You coach, first and foremost, so that we all understand each other, you, Charlie, and Beth are like joined at the hip. So when each of you talk and then I talk, the idea is it's all of you saying the same thing, supporting each other, right? And so the fact that I try to talk more often, it's 3 against 1. First and foremost. Second most, please don't waste my time and a listener's time repeating something that we already know. We already know how awful Trump was in not, and how graceless he was in not accepting the 2020 election. We all get that. None of that changes the fact that he legitimately cleaned house in 2024. So his ability to be president because he manipulated the election. His ability to be president is because 77.3 million Americans, all battleground states, every major demographic trended to him. That's his basis. The no kings argument, the dictatorship is a bullshit, vacuous argument because he is simply an elected president exercising his constitutional prerogative as president that always stretches beyond what the Senate, what the Congress will say, what the Supreme Court will say, and that the tension between those three competing interests is what's constitutional. That is the same thing that every president does. And my only point, you making the point that Trump is worse than how other presidents do, does not change the fact that every president exercises the intent to expand their power. And it's happened in every presidency. Joe Biden did it himself. Okay, so that's all my point is. I'm not trying to justify it. What I'm trying to say here is the benefit to all of us is that Trump is so ham-handed at it. He's so transparent at it that now we all see. Friends and allies all see that this game is rigged, that it's ridiculous, that it's obnoxious. And after this is over, after this carnival act leaves the stage and stuff like that, yes, we're going to have to pick up the pieces, right? And we have an opportunity to do it right. But
maybe
let's
we
not
should stop
act as if
normalizing the behaviors now.
Yeah. Who's normalizing it, Beth?
You just did.
You just
did.
It's like the equivalent of someone driving 55
how,
miles
Beth?
in a 50 zone and someone driving 100.
How am I normalizing the fact that we always do this? The fact, I'm not trying. This is not whataboutism.
Trump has
but you are.
bought election results. Trump has fired everybody to gain. It was loyalty over.
Yes. Okay. With
all those things, you say no. President so and so did this. President so and so. Yeah, but we have never seen
a
president who has done all of these things.
No. Okay.
It's the equivalent way.
If I'm not trying to justify what he's doing, if this is not about whataboutism, if I'm not saying it's okay for him to do it because Obama did it, if that is not my point and has never been, because I criticize what he's doing right now, right? If my point is to point out the factual truth Is it factually true that other presidents exercise
certain
extraordinary?
presidents have exercise extraordinary.
So George
Yes.
W. Bush doing a torture campaign?
Again, you're doing the exact same thing that I just said. If you say, well,
No,
President
it's
Bush
the
did this
reason why.
and Biden
Am
did
I
this and
trying to
Clinton did
justify?
this, but
Is your
we've never seen a
normalization?
president do all of
You
these.
are
Is your
equivocating it, though,
normalization
Kevin.
critique?
It's like saying someone's driving 30 miles per hour in a school zone and the speed limit is 25, and another person's driving 150 miles per hour, but it's all the same thing. They're both breaking the law. There is a reason for equivalence to be measured.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I hear both. No, hold it, Coach.
I don't disagree with your premise that
let me respond to Charlie. Let me respond to Beth before Coach gets in and then does his thing. Okay, Beth. All I'm saying to you here is nothing about what I'm saying is to say that what Trump is doing is okay. That I agree with what Trump is doing. To the contrary, I think it is horrible. It's morally bankrupt what he's doing. But what I'm saying to you here is that what is worse to me is how this has been a part of the American tradition, and that argument is not for the point of saying that means it's okay that Trump's doing it. And all I'm saying about the magnitude argument is that the fact that Trump is worse is not irrelevant, is not meaningless, that there is some meaning to that, but we shouldn't use the fact that Trump is worse, that Trump does it to a greater extent than other presidents, right? That should not obscure the fact that Biden does it to justify a genocide, that Obama does it to overthrow the government of Ukraine in 2014, that Clinton does it to maintain Russia as an enemy, even though we promised we wouldn't do this, and it's led to all these wars all these years later. What I'm saying is all these other things that may not be as bad as what Trump does demonstrates presidents who are acting in extra constitutional ways. That's my only point.
I wasn't saying that what they have done, those presidents have done in their capacity to gain control was not bad or as bad. What I'm saying is we have never seen a president in modern American history who have done all of these things that are authoritarian in one person. So yes, if you were to say is Donald Trump authoritarian, yes, he is absolutely leaning towards a dictatorship.
Okay, well, you just changed the language because I'm not saying he's not an authoritarian, but he's not a dictator.
In 1 year, I just want to add this one thing: in one person, in 1 year, in one person, in 1 year.
But I
want to go on quickly, briefly to another topic, and then we're probably going to cut it there. And here's the topic: the Supreme Court just adopted new rules to recuse themselves. It's a new software that identifies conflicts. That software has been available for the last 7 years. The lower courts have in a big way have adopted them. Is this something to do with Trump? Do they finally want to have a reason or an excuse to recuse themselves from certain cases that he keeps throwing out at them?
No telling.
I
don't know how we even begin to.
The software has been available for 7 years, and clearly the only recusal I've seen in the last 30 years is Daniel Alito recused himself from the Exxon case because he said he owned Exxon stock. But other than that, they've all chimed in on everything.
This is just unless you have some.
Hang on, let me just say this. Antonin Scalia argued the case that he didn't have to recuse himself because of his friends, because in order to get to be a Supreme Court justice, you have to have friends in high places.
To answer your question, we don't need the history of why people recuse themselves. The idea that the Supreme Court is considering a software package that the lower courts have been using for 7 years is a standard practice. In other words, in the same way that states are the incubators of federal policy, oftentimes, yes, the lower courts are going to be an incubator as to whether that works. The court can observe, senior court, the Supreme Court can observe how well is it working in the lower courts, in the Court of Appeals and in the district courts, and if it is working as a credible and objective way to recuse yourself, then finally they exercise the choice to do it. This doesn't seem to be nefarious.
Charlie, does it take 7 years to come to the conclusion the software is worthy?
Well, I don't know.
Because they just adopted it. Are they just adopting a reason to recuse themselves because of all the shit Trump's throwing at them?
Well, sure.
How do
Again,
you know that?
again,
How do we know that? This what a question. I mean,
no, but again, because it does kind of parallel other things we're talking about. The transparency of the you know of the Supreme Court is also something that's been exposed more than ever in the last few years, has it not? with the ties with Alito and Thomas with their donors. I mean,
ridiculous. No, I
Oh,
agree
and
with you.
again, I'll agree. Again, one of those cases. I'm sure it's always been there to some degree, but never exposed to this level. Where, that's why the Supreme Court, with their approval rating in the American public is what, 20% now or something, and no one believes it anymore. That's why the only thing as much as I wasn't surprised by the overall decision on tariffs, the breakdown surprised me a little bit. If there was going to be another vote on the side against the tariffs, I would have predicted Kavanaugh, not Gorsuch. But again, I don't know. They all perplex me.
But Charlie, can I ask you a question?
Alito and Thomas, they're just completely owned by their donors.
Charlie, can I ask you a question real quick about court history and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take note. Compare the 7-year period that Coach is talking about for them considering using this software for recusal to the court's ambivalence as it relates to recording oral arguments and how they resisted that. Because we had an incredible, and I own a copy because I bought it in law school, an incredible a piece of work done by a professor at the University of California at Davis, may it please the court, which released the oral arguments of the key Supreme Court decisions, like Roe v. Wade, Brown versus Board of Education, all those ones, right? Yeah, in the early 90s. And the Supreme Court sued to suppress that and was successful in doing so. So the idea is historically, the court is very slow moving when it comes to changing.
Hey, I'm all for the procedure.
Changing procedures in terms of how they do business, whether it's listening in to their oral arguments, recording
well, that's why Thomas has never said a word in his entire time on the bench in oral arguments. Almost never opens his mouth.
He stares at the ceiling.
He knows why.
But Charlie, wouldn't you agree?
He knows what's going to fly out of there.
So the 7 years is not unusual for the court to resist the use of a new software package that decides whether or not they recuse themselves. It's not unusual that they would take time to decide that. So 7 years, 10 years, 5 years, I don't know how to measure.
About the timing. That's all. It was just a simple question. I was concerned about the timing. I'm concerned about the amount of influence Donald Trump is having on everything we do.
All I can say is Coach, is that your slip is showing. If you want to just find every reason to criticize Trump, so be it. But unless you have something here,
didn't insist they adopt the recusal software.
This has nothing to do with Trump. What does this have? Unless you have some information.
We're seeing even the ruling on tariffs gave him an opportunity to pull back on tariffs and strengthen the economy, even because he keeps saying that it's the foreign countries that are paying these tariffs, and they're not. It's the American people. Tariffs are a tax. But again, he comes right back around and says, I'm going to do it this way. And to me, it's all part and parcel of something concerning.
Well, again, this has nothing to do with Donald Trump, when the court adopts a software package on whether they should recuse. Look, last night I know you stubbed your toe when you got out of bed to go to the bathroom. Trump had nothing to do with it. He didn't turn out the lights. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I mean, stop it. Trump gives you enough reason to criticize him. There's enough actual things. I mean, let's talk about this nightmare.
Well, no, the only reason I threw that out
the U.S. economy on Monday morning, is going to wake up and oil prices are going to explode because Iran is shutting down the Straits of Hormuz. So here we go, party. Yes, this is what I'm saying. The price is going to start affecting on Monday. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about how he is, upturning the global economy over this, because Iran is not just going down. And the fact that you killed their leader, oh yes.
But the Dow is at 50. Oh, just kidding.
There you go. I love it, Beth. I feel you.
He's the greatest showman.
Greatest ever. Yeah. No, wait until you see how the economy responds to 20% of oil supply being shut down. Right. Yeah. It's coming. This is not helping the economy. This is insane.
It's not
And
every Monday though. The oil price change is going to delay like 10 days at least. I thought that initially too, but
maybe
it
at the
actually
pump.
go down a bit on Monday. But eventually,
Well,
obviously,
all,
it's coming.
all I'm
But it
saying,
surged.
timing this.
To a
All I'm
quick
saying is the strait is shut down. They're not going through, and the tankers are not going to be sent through because they don't want to get destroyed.
Have
that's
they
what I'm
figured
saying.
out if they've actually shut it down yet, or if the ships are just avoiding it at this point? I mean, I know they're going to
Oh,
eventually.
they are avoiding at this
Something that
point
was in the
because
playbook. I mean, that was always step one in retaliation, was shut down the
yes,
Hormuz.
yes,
But has it officially been shut down, or are the boats just like not
well,
going?
of course, they're not. No, there's no quote unquote confirmation, but no one is sending their ship through. So therefore, that's shutting. That's
Yeah,
the same
I wouldn't want to
effect.
go through there.
Yes, exactly.
20 miles.
So that's all I'm saying.
Certainly
It doesn't matter if it's Iran forcibly shutting it down or everyone
Also,
saying,
that's
"Oh,
my prediction of Iran's big move. I think they're just going to unload everything right in the UAE, oversaturate so we can't intercept it all. I mean, you talk about a symbol of Western wealth, right? It's right there, so close to them. I think they're just going to barrage the shit out of that till we run out of interceptors, and they're going to be like, because they know they can't win overall, so it's always going to be about making points, making symbolic type things. And I tell you what, I know some people who live in Dubai, and I would not want to be anywhere near that fucking area right now.
Charlie, what is the win here? Because I can tell you this much: America can't defeat Iran. Are we sending U.S. military on the land?
Who knows? Like I said, is he gonna
what's the win here?
Is he just gonna bomb the crap out of it for a week and walk away and just see what happens? I could see him doing that.
And all our military bases exposed in Saudi Arabia and all these places that we can't control. Yeah. It's on for real.
Joke that the people are gonna go up and seize your country. 92 million people, a country 3 times the size of Iraq. We're just gonna decapitate the leadership, and then the people will take over like it's
they're going to greet us as liberators. They're going to greet us as liberators, of course.
Because there's no more leaders, they're just going to walk in and take control of the country. So
the thing is,
you'll never have a better opportunity. So go up there and just take your country. Lead 92 million people.
In the investment world, there's something called dumb money. And the dumb money is always in late, right? Okay, last week, the Iranian leadership talked about how we are prepared for regime change, for a chain of control, right? So this is not a surprise to Iran. They were prepared for this, been prepared for this. Israel has been trying to assassinate their leaders. Israel assassinated a leader in Tehran, in the presidential palace last year. Okay, so all I'm saying here is they are ready for that. This
and we have no plan. I don't believe
we don't have a plan, but they have been ready.
I know they do, and I don't believe we do. I don't think we got a plan beyond this week. And these people, who like to get on the media and say, "Oh, no, trust me, that we got stuff working in. We would never just go without a plan." Oh, bullshit. We can't put boots on the ground, or maybe he can. Who the fuck knows?
No, I thought he said he was going to. I thought Trump had said something like, "Yeah, this is a really important."
Oh, people are going to die. That happens in war.
Not
if you're me or my family or anyone
right.
else. But
you want to bring millions of Americans into the streets?
Yeah.
You want to bring millions of Americans into the streets? You try to put U.S. Marines on the ground fighting combat against the Iranians in Iran. Yeah, watch.
But you can't conceivably see that happen? Because I can.
No,
I can't. So.
No, I can't
see that happen. I could see him.
No, because the level of first and foremost, we don't have the size military to do it. You talk about 90 million people.
I don't say it can be accomplished.
What are we doing?
It cannot even be. I mean, if we literally put boots on the ground, this is going to be Iraq on steroids.
Oh,
it'd be worse than Vietnam.
You cannot imagine. This is the shitstorm that no president and every president discussed, and every president came to the conclusion this is the wrong decision. I thought George W. Bush was going to do it. He had a vote, and the vote failed. That they didn't want to go in. We're gonna be in a mess.
Always for the same reason. What are you going to do day 2? It's always been the same reason. That reason has not changed, and the reality hasn't changed. They just did it.
The reality has actually gotten I
worse.
really believe the calculation was that the first initial attack went so well that now Iran is so handicapped from the fact that we took out their missile defense systems. And like Charlie said, it doesn't matter what they can do effectively. Whatever they can do is going to hurt us bad. And if we put boots on the ground, that is going to be, like I said, Iraq on steroids. Our guys are going to be so decimated in that Iranian territory. This is just insane what could happen.
So many levels. And they like completely underestimating the idea that they killed a religious leader too.
Yes.
Like not just a leader of the part of the leader of the government. I mean, these are very religious people.
And so the thing about it is that we have not in any way crushed Iran's ability to respond, and they are responding, and they're hitting U.S. bases, and they're hitting Israel, and they're hitting other Arab countries, right? That are friends, right? And they're going to continue to do that, and this is going to be the long war, and so I don't know what our plan was for day 2, right? But decapitating them, their leadership, in a context where they knew that that's what we intended to do, and they knew it for years, right? They, just like any other organization, were ready for that. They have leaders in wait, and that only hardens their commitment to us. They said, when you come in this time, we're now approaching this as the long war. We're not going to do what we did last year after we ran out of missiles in the area after 2 weeks, and then we negotiated a settlement, and they agreed to stop firing, right? They're not going to stop this time, right? This is what comes next, right? And Israel better get ready, because the comeuppance, I think, is about to show up.
Yeah.
That's a small little country. That's a small little country right there.
If they
and they've been throwing a lot of hate.
Scarier. But the fact that they know they can't, that's what makes it scary. It's end game for them. They know.
Yes.
I mean, they've been exposed more than I expected. I mean, really, in that first, when Israel took out Hezbollah for the most part, right? When they decapitated the Hezbollah leadership, not decapitated, but took out a big piece of it, and it really exposed that Iran did not have as much strength in their proxies that I think was believed. That was the start of them really being exposed and opened the gates for Israel just to bomb the crap out of them with impunity. But that makes it even scarier, because they know they can't resist to a stalemate. So it's just like you were saying, it's just empty the stockpiles. That's why focusing on one country, it could take UAE just into rubble.
Another consideration we need to put on the table is a nuclear escalation. So here's the thing, because
I agree,
just
Kevin.
like with any bully, as Israel is starting to go down for the count, because 6 months from now, when Iran is still bombing them, right, okay, they have nuclear weapons that we illegally gave them. And people need to understand that all the nuclear non-proliferation treaties have expired because of us. And so Russia has hypersonic intermediate level nuclear missiles, right? That will make Israel a parking lot, right? A radioactive parking lot like Chernobyl, right? If they launch one to their ally in Iran. And there's nothing we can do about that. And we don't attack Russia, because then that's the end of the world. What I'm saying is, Russia has the capability of destroying every capital in Europe, right? And we can't do anything about it. So if we cross that line by thinking that is because Israel's going down like any bully, and that's when they want to pull out their gun, understand what's coming. Right? This is what China and Russia is standing by for. They'll let Iran fight the conventional fight.
Also, all the uranium that's enriched to the level that it has is just going out into the black market, or them creating a dirty bomb with the technology, the level they have. I mean, they're pretty far advanced. They can make a pretty dirty bomb.
They were on the way.
There's so many scenarios that are all just
Yes.
ugly and catastrophic. Well, we've been talking
Catast-
about this being the flashpoint for World War III since I was in middle school, in high school, talking about this. You know, the day has come.
The day has come. So yeah, I don't know what day two, Charlie, your point is well taken. I don't know what day two, we haven't thought about day two, but I could tell you this much, right? The win that we got on day one is like a bad joke told slowly. They knew that that was the price.
We're in a
Hezbollah
long-term.
knew that that was the price.
We're in a long-term disaster here.
I agree.
But the economy is going to be devastated by this.
I mean, well, I think Trump had this, he spoke about previous presidents, such as Obama, Biden. I think he even accused Bush of going to war with Iran for economic benefit. And I don't think he realized, timing is everything. I don't think Trump really, I think he lost the foreign sort of hand in losing the tariffs. But with this, when you say we don't have a day two plan, Trump has a day two plan. I mean, he's been screaming it all over the news, but I don't think he really grasps the gravity of the situation like most Americans do. I really don't think he gets it.
I don't think he cares. I think he's a revengeful person and he wants to put America in a giant shitstorm, really.
I don't think he understood the whole NATO thing with Greenland. I really truly believe he did not realize that Greenland was a part of the United States.
Well, I mean, that's been a thread that I've talked about multiple times. The idea that we suggest that we know what he understands, the idea that we call him, as Coach Trippy always does, what is that? He's the crash dummy and stuff like that.
He's the $1 trillion crash dummy.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you're talking about in American political history, the most successful crash dummy. He simply gets his way, right, in American politics, right? But it's not because he has talent. It's because, I don't know, he must have drugged everyone, right? He's not as stupid and as untalented as you all make him out to be.
No,
just because
I mean,
I don't think
what I'm saying.
What do you mean he doesn't understand that Denmark is a part of NATO? He doesn't.
But what I'm saying is, like, when he was, the excuse was, if we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will take Greenland. And then it wasn't until after he lost basically the chance to take Greenland, he was trying to explain to us that, like, well, we already have Greenland, like, because with NATO, like, that's what everybody was screaming beforehand. Like, I sometimes I truly believe he doesn't really know. Like,
but Beth,
that's because crazy,
but you're caught up in his rhetoric, right?
No,
what he knows is not what he said. What he knows is not what he says. He says a lot of crazy shit. And oh, by the way, we're getting the minerals out of Greenland. The European Union is conceding that. So I'm just saying, I mean, when the cameras go away and we go back to business, he's getting what he wants, right? But all I'm saying is it's not that. Who knows what he knows? But what we do know is that
he don't know much.
Well, no. What we do know is his level of success.
You think he really knew Abraham Lincoln was a Republican before he became president? You really think he knew that?
You really think what?
That he knew Abraham Lincoln was a Republican?
Whenever he
says, a lot of people don't know.
That's what I mean. Like,
Donald Trump has an Ivy League education, right? Donald Trump has an Ivy League education. Okay, maybe the Ivy League that doesn't teach that Abraham Lincoln is a Republican. Right.
No, I agree.
George W. Bush has an Ivy League education also, right? And and he's choking on peanuts.
These people have money, though. Ivy League education means nothing when you're when your alumni.
Well, Ivy League's all about getting in. It ain't what
all I'm saying. I know I'm being facetious, but I'm trying to say, I mean, how do we know what people don't know? All I do know is that is that when he came down the golden escalator back in what 2015 and stuff like that, we all laughed our arses off because we thought there's no way. There's just no way. And what he did by defeating Miss Establishment herself, right? Shocked the world. No one on election eve thought that he had a shot. The odds were way against him, and he beat Hillary, right? And then, okay, fine. We elected Biden, and we're saying, oh, well, okay, now we're going back to normalcy and stuff like that. There is just no way. We got 3 indictments and 92 charges and stuff like that. There's no way we're reelecting this guy. And we reelect him in the way that we did. I mean, okay.
I
So
thought it was like
you could
70.
say,
It was
you could say,
like less than half, but
no. Beth, when are you going to get the idea that the breadth of his support is unlike anything that Obama had? Obama
hey,
never
if
won.
somebody promised
Obama
me the
Obama
world,
never
I would
ne-
probably.
Obama never won all battleground states. Okay, how about that? Neither
Yeah,
did
but
George
you're
W. Bush.
talking about
Neither did
wins
Bill
that were.
Clinton.
You're
No,
talking about
Th-
wins
it's
that.
just
Hang on, you are talking about wins that were marginal at best, 2%
no,
in most
no,
of the
no,
swing
no.
states.
Win marginal
And
or not,
okay,
win
you're
marginal or
building a
not.
mountain out of a molehill,
I'm not
though.
building a mountain out of a
He
molehill.
didn't
If
have the support.
no,
What
no,
happened was
if
Biden should have never ran
coach,
again. He won
coach,
by
hold it,
default.
blah 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 blah. We know this, coach.
Okay,
My
but you're
point,
making it like
my
it's
no,
this
my point,
enormous support level.
my point is I didn't say he won in a landslide. So you could talk about the margins, but the fact that he won in every battleground state when it's not been done since the 1984 election. How about that? That is
I'll concede. I
extraordinary.
mean,
When
I'll concede whatever
when
you want
no,
if it's
the fact that
extraordinary that he won or not. But
the fact that every major demographic, ethnic, gender, racial, age demographic trended to him, right, gives you an idea of the breadth, how wide his margin, it cuts across
the
a lot of
margin,
people.
but that was my argument. All I was saying was the margin wasn't as wide. Yes, he won those states, but
He did,
Yes,
win,
but
it was like a
margins weren't
50-50.
there.
Like it wasn't, it wasn't a huge, it was like, I think like
you do
0.3%.
okay, but
that
no one
wasn't,
else has done that since Reagan in 84. I mean, you could say, oh, because he did it by 2 points, because he did it by 1 point, and stuff like that. That means it's not the fact that no one has done it since 1984. The fact that he won age
I'm not
18 to
impressed. That's
18
what
to
I'm saying.
24.
I
I know you're not
consider it a
impressed.
victory
at
by
the
default.
18 to 24,
at the end of the
25
day,
to 34,
please stop,
35,
please.
every age.
Every
he
time
won?
we get, please stop, please. I've
No,
read
I'm
the
not
book.
stopping because I hear this
Every
diatribe
time
from the
but
three of
every
you
time we've had
every week
But every time
about
we've had
how
this
he's
discussion,
a
you
crash
always
dummy.
bring up the same
He's
thing
not a
about his
crash dummy. No,
percentages
no,
and
no.
He
his
is a
If
crash
you don't
dummy.
want, you know
wins
what,
and this.
Beth? If you
Every
don't
we
want to
just
hear
stay
it,
on
if
the.
you don't want to hear it,
But we've heard
if you
it.
don't,
It's like
if
it's
you don't,
like a record.
if you don't, I don't initiate it. The record is you three.
do.
No, you three say he's an idiot.
And your
Crash,
response is
that
but he won this and
right.
this
And I
and
said,
this
how
and
is
this
this?
by
How is
this.
this idiot? How is this idiot doing?
No, I was just
defeating all
saying-
your heroes? How is this?
They
I'm
were
with
never
her.
our
Heroes.
heroes.
And
That's the
how is this
hero.
idiot doing
The
that?
issue
Joe
is
Biden's my hero?
I was
is
just
somebody's hero.
questioning.
Clinton was
What-
never my
what
hero.
I'm saying is-
Bush was never my. Biden was never my hero.
Charlie
Oh, yeah,
conceded
okay.
he doesn't think Trump is a moron.
He is.
Trump has
that's
conceded he doesn't
That's
think
why
Trump
you.
is a
But
moron.
Beth, that's why you get the lecture series because you and Coach
I don't need-
continue
but
this
what I'm saying
nonsense to
I
say that
think
he's just
Trump
stupid.
probably has
He
it
doesn't
I
know
don't
what
need
he's
a
doing.
lecture on what his percentage of wins were and which states he wins, but
Yes, you
no,
do.
I know you want
Every
the
time you
audience to hear
say-
that.
Every time you say
that's
that
the only
that he doesn't
defense there
understand
is.
basic things,
He had to
like what that he doesn't
He had to
read. I mean,
remind
then
Americans
you deserve a
that
lecture
whole milk
series.
is
Then you
spelled
deserve a
with
lecture series
W.
because he's clearly not
Not
an
whole.
idiot. He can't be an idiot and do what he's done. How can
true.
how
I think he
no
is.
one? No, even
What'd you
Obama, Mr. Professorial,
What did you
hasn't
say,
done what he's done.
Charlie?
I said that's not true. You can be a moron and be very successful.
Yes.
No. I'm not talking about
guys. I got to start
economics.
wrapping it up
You
because
created
I
a
gotta start getting ready for
widget
work.
and you create Mr. Pillow and stuff like that. Yeah, you could be a moron and invent Mr. Pillow.
moron, I
You
guarantee
can't be a
Mr. Pillow
moron.
was a crack
You can't be a
pipe.
moron
real
and
IQ test, he'd score under 100 points.
Charlie, you cannot be a
Doubt in my
moron
mind.
and have
No doubt in
three
my mind.
indictments You can't be a moron and have 3 indictments, 92 charges, and get the all the success
The
that he had in
criminals are
that
some of the
election.
stupidest people you ever run
Okay,
across.
well, you
Trust
know
me, I
what?
deal with them every
We
day of my life.
have a long American history. It's never happened before. This is the definition of exceptional, is when you've done something that hasn't happened before. This is what
He
you
He's
argue about all the
exceptional. I'll
time.
give you
he's a
that.
product of enormous birthright. He came out of a
Yes. Oh yeah.
he came out
He's
of a meeting with
what?
the
He's
governor
exceptional.
of the
No
Virgin
doubt.
Islands, and he just with president of the Virgin Islands, and they said, "Mr. President,
Yeah.
you're the president.
Yeah.
You met with the governor. He is a moron."
He's a
Yes, I
moron.
don't
Well,
think he's as
I just want
Ivy
you to
League
know you
He
are
educated.
being
confused the Cuds with the
that
Kurds.
moron.
The Cuds are Iran's elite fighting force. The Kurds are our allies. The
Oh,
You
Turks
forget
are
even that
being
stuff. A
know
man
defeated.
the
who
answer.
continually brags about acing a cognitive exam for
Oh,
years now. Come on.
look, I
Come
know
on.
he
He
is
is
a
a
on.
carnival
moron.
barker.
He is truly an embarrassment. If
No, but
somebody
that's what
hired him,
makes me.
let's
Okay.
just be clear. If somebody hired him to be a car salesman and the salesman heard him telling the potential customer, this car gets 1,000,000 miles to the gallon and flies in space, they would fire him immediately. Trump gets away with that bullshit daily. He is a
So
snake
how
oil selling
exactly does he
moron.
how does this moron do it? Because that's why you get
But
election
I
that's
don't
my
shows. I'm
know
saying,
how
point.
he
That's
look
my
at
does
his
it.
that's my
success.
question.
I
Look
don't
at
know
That
how
is
his
he
my
does
success
question.
it.
speaks
I
for
don't
himself.
understand the
He's
pyramid. I don't know
well,
how he does it. I don't understand the
no.
pyramid
He's
or
an
the
empty
The
vessel shaped
reason
by
why you don't.
he's an empty vessel that was shaped by very intelligent, capable people. Look what they did
Okay.
with The Apprentice, right? They were able to shape
Oh,
him into
good
being a
point.
success, make him look like a successful, intelligent businessman when he was anything but. It was the biggest joke. That guy regrets his entire life. Who's that producer of The Apprentice?
Can I ask you
To
three a
this day,
question,
he
please?
regrets the fact that he created
Yes,
this
I did. I
illusion
saw a
that
thing on
Trump
him.
was competent, made a ton of money on this TV show. The country bought into it because that's Hollywood, that's television. They made him. They took an empty vessel, and he is the ultimate empty vessel. And intelligent, talented people were able to get their own what they wanted through using him. He was
Well,
perfect for
can we
that. But that's
since
not exceptional. That's just an empty vessel.
on any
That's
issue,
true.
can we make a podcast procedure here on any issue that we discuss when it's clear that who supports and who opposes, right? That each point of view gets to respond to every point that's made, as opposed to the 3 of you going back and forth, and I have to interject. And then when I start talking longer than any one of you talked, I get told basically I need to stand down. When we talk about, you want to talk about Trump being
Well,
an idiot,
it's
and then
usually
you
when
just
it's
go
just
back and
debate.
forth. Here you go again, Beth. I heard you. I heard Coach.
But what I'm
I heard
saying is,
Charlie. No,
typically,
hear
we're supposed to
me.
just
No,
talking
stop.
about.
No. The problem is you 3 agree, and you keep on supporting what you're saying, and so that dominates the conversation. Get in.
Yeah, but
I
you are saying, you're basically saying we're all on one side and none of
you
our
are all on
and
one
only
side.
one of our opinions matters. And
No,
that's
no.
not the
I'm not
case.
saying no. I didn't say
We all
only
have an
one of.
opinion.
Yes, you do have an opinion, but if you are all supporting the same thing, even though you have individual opinions, right? And the audience is listening, right? Okay. And so you 3 go back and forth, and you don't just take one, and then I get to talk. No, you go back and forth where Coach says this, and Charlie says this, and Beth says this, and then Coach wants to chime in, and then he tells his story, this and that, as I'm trying to get in. That is what this, listen to this recording and tell
I've
me what I,
watched them.
okay, right.
And you know what I
Okay.
have seen? Wait, you know what I have seen? I have seen you complain many a times of don't interrupt me when you pay no attention to how you interrupt others. Now, Charlie and I were just talking. Charlie agreed with you that, yeah, Trump was a genius. Trump was smart, but he's a vessel. So, like, I can't, when I'm saying I think he's a moron, I don't know how he became this, whatever. He and I disagree. Sometimes I disagree with Trippy. All I'm saying is we all have opinions. We can all make statements. I mean, like, yes, I understand you're saying it's as one-sided and 3 of you against 1, but I've agreed with you. I've disagreed with Charlie and disagreed with Trippy, but we all have different opinions. And
Yeah,
these should all be
Beth,
heard.
what you said is I definitely interrupt. and you definitely interrupt, and Charlie definitely interrupts, and Coach definitely interrupts. The idea that I'm the only one who interrupts is
I
simply
never
not
said
true.
that.
Okay,
No.
then that's right.
No,
So
I
I
never
agree
said
with you.
that.
I do interrupt, but what I'm trying to say here is, and I'm only talking, I'm not talking, I know there's things you agree on with me, and there are things that Charlie agrees on with me, and there are things that Coach agrees on with me. I said specifically when we have an issue that we're talking about, and it's clear that the three of you or the three of us and somebody else has, that's how the breakdown is. We have to be mindful that we're not communicating amongst the majority and barely giving the other person the idea to input in the conversation to each of the points that are being made. So if you make a particular point and Charlie makes a particular point and Coach makes a particular point, and I disagree, I have every right to be able to address each point. But if I get to address one of the points, and by the time I try to move to the other point, someone else wants to talk, then points get unaddressed. And so this leaves the conversation imbalanced to the audience. That's what I'm talking about.
I would
Okay.
dare
So let's be
say,
mindful of that.
if you went and measured who has the most time speaking uninterrupted in this show, I would all but guarantee that you would have more than the three of us combined.
That's not true.
No,
That's
I
not
think,
true.
Go ahead and measure it.
I definitely have more than any one of you individually. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
I would say
Coach,
collectively.
you have the recordings. You can go ahead and put it into
I can enter it. I can pull back the data, and I have to figure out how to
come
do
back
it.
and
But
report
that's
on that.
not
And Charlie, I think
Yeah.
what you're going to find
This isn't a
is that I have
negotiation
more
for
individually,
time.
certainly. But I don't.
This
But
isn't
that's
a
because
negotiation for time.
I'm typically represent an alternate point of view to most of you. Okay, but who's doing? If we have an hour or 90-minute talk, the idea that the three of you are not talking more than me as an individual is absurd.
All right, let's
come
not
back
focus
and
on
prove
that
it.
one point until we come up with the data, because I'm not so sure Charlie's that far off or off at all. But let me make this point. This isn't a negotiation of time. This could very well be considered like a Hannity and Combs. There's three. I don't remember who was more liberal. I think it was Hannity was more liberal. There's three Hannitys versus one Combs. Matters we make great points, and they're going to be debatable. When I say he's a moron and you say he's really not, he accomplished something no one else accomplished. He did accomplish some things no one else accomplished. I wouldn't be so proud of those accomplishments. If that's an alternative point,
Proud
it is
of
what
it.
it is. I mean,
Look,
what he's accomplished
you know what?
to me. I just remember. I remember Dan Quayle, a conservative, who fell from grace for selling potato raw.
Why do I have to hear that, Coach? You say hang on to tell me a story that I don't need to hear.
Right now, you're interrupting me right now. I'm making a point. Trump can make an ass out of himself routinely. He can mock handicap people. He can make all sorts of crazy ass comments. You can ask him about a fallen soldier, and he'll start talking about his polling in some state. We're talking about a falling soldier. It's okay. Let Trump be Trump. So when I come to the conclusion he's a moron, that's my right to have that conclusion. I have seen him in action for literally 5 years as president. I've never, if even I agree with some of his policy, the way he executes his policy is everything, and I think it's shit. It's
okay.
that
Well,
simple.
you know
It's
what,
my
Coach?
right to have that opinion.
Hey, Coach. First and foremost, right? Who said anything about your right? I didn't say it's not your right to have that opinion. I'm saying no. We just didn't. We just disagree. Okay.
One word I used.
So I'm sorry.
So
okay. Okay. First and foremost. Two, right? The fact that someone is heinous. The fact that someone is, that we don't like them, right, does not affect their capabilities, their competence, their intelligence, right? My resistance to this, he's a crash dump, is because it comes from a level of bile that each of you demonstrate for him over and over again that distorts the analysis as to whether he is actually stupid or you just don't like him. Okay. I know you don't like him. I know Charlie doesn't like him. I can't stand him. I can't stand Donald Trump. Let me say that straight up right here. I can't stand Donald Trump. But when I look as a 30-year commercial banker who judges credit quality all the time, when I look at Donald Trump credit is who he is, right? He is a lot smarter than he projects. In the same way that it's a thing in the South, in the southeastern United States, that they kill you with kindness, they are a lot smarter than they're putting on. That's Donald Trump, right? And so that's my
But
read
that's
of
what
him. And why? Because he sets out for these bold things and he achieves his goal. No, that does not happen by accident. It's not he just looked into an
So
invention and made $1 billion.
to that point, I have not seen any achievements in the 5 years he's been president. Now, I'm not debating this point. I'm just making this point. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not arguing. What I'm saying is I don't see we have only seen this country lose all its credibility across the world and him stand on the dais and say now the world respects us. And that's just his delusional opinion of his actions. And he's
Yeah,
convinced people
he's
that he
destroying our reputation. I agree with you.
okay, and he says though over
But
and
that doesn't
over,
mean he's
he said
stupid.
over and
That
over,
doesn't mean.
it doesn't change the fact that I feel he's stupid. I do. When I see again, I'll give
But
you
that's what I
examples.
mean.
When you walk out of meetings with the governor of the Virgin Islands, your president of the United States, you don't even realize the Virgin Islands is a part of the United States, and you are the president of the Virgin
Well, how do
Islands.
you know what he realizes just because he says he
He
plays
said it.
stupid
He
on
said it.
purpose?
How
I
do
That
you
don't
know
think
because he's
Dan
so.
Quayle didn't
Don't play
realize how to spell
okay.
stupid.
See,
potato
that's
because
what
he voiced
Charlie.
it?
Did you hear me? Okay. He says a lot of crazy shit. Just because he says crazy shit doesn't mean that that's what he's thinking. I mean, is that really how you deal with people in real life, Coach? Is that everyone is
I
on the
have
surface?
accuracy from
People
the
don't have.
president of the
People
United
don't.
States. I'm
People
extremely
don't
concerned with a
project.
lack of
He
accuracy when it's coming from the
projects.
president of the United
Trump
States.
projects all types of nonsense all the time. You cannot tell by what he says, right, what he thinks. You cannot tell by what he says what he does, right?
But
Well,
And so
no,
your
have no
argument that he
case.
says the
What
stupidest
you're saying,
things
have no
is
case.
that
for
is no measure on what
That
he
that
thinks
that
or what he
extremely huge
knows.
that extremely huge vacuum brings me to a lot of concern.
Well, you don't know if it's a vacuum, Coach, because all you're
Can't
getting,
we can't
you're
we cannot
analyzing what
count
he's
on anything
saying.
he says, and we cannot count on
You
anything he
cannot
does.
count
Is
on
generally
anything he
speaking a
says.
vacuum. Okay,
No, no,
then
no.
there's a vacuum. That's a
That's not in his
vacuum.
head. No, but that's not in
Okay,
his head. That you don't know what he's thinking. You don't know what his
I need to
intelligence
know what he's
is.
thinking. He's the
To
freaking
say he's a
president.
crash dump, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm,
We
I'm
all
saying all.
agree that he's either doing this for the benefit of Israel, the benefit of Qatar, the benefit of Saudi Arabia.
I
We
think he's
know he has
transparent.
opposing motives.
He's getting paid to do this,
Okay,
and he doesn't
he's
give a
not
shit.
saying it. He's not saying it. That creates a vacuum. That creates a concern.
Oh,
That
right,
creates
but
a
again,
worry that our troops
go
used for his
go into
benefit. British
go into the
soldiers already died
question.
in Iran.
Go into the question as to whether he's an idiot or not.
I,
You know, right?
my
Okay,
personal
that's what we're
opinion of
talking
his
about.
demeanor. We're
That's what we're
focusing on my
talking about.
personal.
And what
I
I'm
don't think
saying
Donald Trump
here
should call
is
me and say, I
that he's
can't
not
believe
an
you think I'm an
idiot.
idiot.
He says a lot of things that makes him seem like an idiot. I agree with you there.
So we're
I'm not.
making excuses for him.
But no, I'm not making excuses for him. Look at the history. If you look at the history, you can't achieve what he's achieved in the mediums that he's achieved it and be an idiot because he
If you
doesn't.
look at the history of New York real estate, what you achieve is by total corruption. If you look at the history of his fixer, his lawyer, Michael Cohen, how
Hey,
he achieved whatever he achieved
hey,
was by
he
phasing
he
people out of their
achieved
taxi cab medallions.
he
I mean,
achieved a level of
corruption is not an
success over
accomplishment.
the
It is
court.
financially
Look,
beneficial, but it is not an accomplishment.
hey, he achieved a level of success in different mediums at different times in his career, transitioned into politics, and achieved what no one thought he could achieve.
I
Right?
have no
How?
regard for
Right?
any of those
Okay.
accomplishments.
That is not accidental.
Okay.
He's not elite rich. He's not super wealthy.
He was
He is
handed
not.
$500
He
million.
he's right. Exactly.
Big connections in New York real
He's wealthy.
estate.
Trump is wealthy, but he's not Elon Musk, Warren Buffett. He's not the ultra wealthy, right? Okay. What he has achieved with what he has had, right, it belies the notion that he is stupid. Why? Because he's not falling into things. He's actually making choices and re-navigating. So he took his brand to TV with The Apprentice. Call it what you want. It was successful. He took
Okay,
his
no
brand
one's
to
arguing that.
politics. He took his brand to politics. He's been successful, right? Call it
Yes,
what it
but
is. The fact that he doesn't have any accomplishments that any of us on this phone right here on this call would consider good, right? Have you seen me saying what he's been doing is
no,
good,
the
right?
question
No,
was
th-
streaming towards,
but he's
is
not
it okay?
stupid. He
Is
can't be
it
stupid if if he's
is
this
it
successful.
reasonable to have a legitimate fear with going and killing the Iranian leader
Yes, of
because
course.
Trump doesn't have a tomorrow thought? Even though, because Trump has already made statements that they're going to dismantle their navy, they're going to dismantle their nuclear capabilities. They're going, so that's his day too. But we've already come to the conclusion that they don't really have a plan for day two. We're going to kind of leave this
Well,
up to Israel, really.
I
And then
think
when I
he's just
say,
all id, and that happened to work.
well, this is what these pathological leaders do. This is exactly what drives Netanyahu. It's okay for Netanyahu or Trump to go after decapitation of people they perceive as their enemies because they realize that the security forces around them give them protect them, right? And that the people who or these enemies are going to hurt because they can access them is their own people. And they're okay with that. So Trump doesn't mind the fact that if the Iranians can only hurt America by killing American citizens, so that's what they're going to do, then that's what's going to happen. Welcome
Well,
back
that's
to nine
concerning that
11.
he's the
Welcome
president. For
back
me,
to, yeah.
that's a big
Well,
concern.
no. Hey, Bill Clinton and George W. Bush did the same damn thing and they allowed 9/11 to occur because they knew bin Laden
And
was
I was
coming.
always concerned about all that too.
So,
Donald Trump
so
is
all
being
I'm
held to the
saying
same
here is,
standard as I've
I'm
always
saying,
held every
the,
president to. And the only
these
president
these
I've ever had any regard or respect for is Jimmy Carter.
these
So that's my
sociopaths,
long story
yeah,
short.
well, I understand. Yeah, but Jimmy was right there when the Iranian Revolution occurred, and he never bothered to explain to the American public why the first thing the students did was attack the U.S. embassy. Right? No, Jimmy didn't explain that it's because we installed the Shah, overthrew their democratically elected leader in 53, installed the Shah, and he tortured the Iranian people for 20 years. And then we protected the Shah and got him out of the country. Jimmy, as nice as he is, did not say that to the American public. And
No, the
this is
things that
why the
Jimmy didn't
Iranians
say is
hate
what we're
us.
holding him
Right? Okay.
accountable for. But the fact that we cannot hold Donald Trump accountable for these he does says because we really don't know how he really means or what he's going to do next with it. That's okay. Because that's what you just said. You said Donald Trump can do something, but we really don't know what he's saying or doing. We don't know. But
Yeah.
Carter failed
Well,
to explain to the American people that the Shah of Iran was put in place by the American government, and the Shah ultimately abused his people, starved his people, and his wife bathed in milk
yeah.
when his own people didn't have cold water in the morning.
Right.
We can
Right.
hold Jimmy Carter accountable for not making that recitation,
And we're
but we
going to hold
cannot hold
Donald
Donald
Trump
Trump
accountable for.
accountable
Yes, we
for the
are. Why
things
not?
he's
Just
just
because he
saying that
says,
we
just because
can't
he did.
count on. We can't count on what he says or what he does because we really don't know how it really works with him because he's a
No, no,
little
no, no,
different.
no, no. That is not my point, Coach. That is not my point that we can't hold Donald Trump accountable. My point is to say he's stupid when he's able to
Okay,
do
we
what he's.
beat
Oh,
that point to
that's my
death. I
point.
personally
Okay,
feel he's
but
not
where
a
do you
bright
get
man.
no,
I
Coach? Hold
don't.
it now.
I've never
Don't,
seen the
Coach. Don't
intelligence in
interrupt
him.
now, Coach. Can I speak for a second? Okay,
Yes, but we
this is
keep
what I'm
beating the
saying.
point that I call
If
him
no,
stupid.
what do you are saying? This whole line of argument was over the fact that you all continue to underestimate Donald Trump and talk about his capacity, his mental capacity. And I'm saying, and then you just came up with this new diatribe where you're talking about saying that I'm saying we can't hold Trump accountable, that we can't. No, when I'm talking about you can't take what he says and say, okay, those things that he's saying is stupid. So therefore he's stupid when this is a person who throws a lot of things out there
I
on
think he's a
purpose.
moron.
And this is not unique to Donald Trump. Like I said, go to the South. they will kill you with butter. They love you, and don't take them for granted because they are smart as a whip, right? This is not unusual. Donald Trump presents a lot of nonsense to throw you off what he's trying to do. So if your argument is only based on what he says, then you're just chasing your tail like the media is chasing your tail.
Okay.
I don't
And
know. You can't. I mean, I feel like for a man with as thin of skin as Trump, with his cognitive test boasts about, like nobody could ace that, like, and then some of the things he says, like you have to believe like he is beyond genius. You know what I mean? He's just, it's so hard to
First of all, he's
believe.
literally equating a cognitive test with an IQ test, and that's kind of
my
concerning.
point.
That kind of makes you feel like an idiot. Makes you feel he's an idiot.
he's
That's my
okay.
point.
Again, like he said, if you look objectively at certain things that he's publicly he intends to do over the course of his long public life, and you look at his success rate in doing them, right? You will see that it's not one off, that it's in multiple different areas of expertise, and right. Well, I'm talking about whether it's media or whether it's real estate development or putting your naming rights or brand development or politics or whatever, right? You could laugh, but objectively speaking, just look at what he's done.
Mark
He
Goodman.
says now, can I finish? He says he's going to do it. He then turns. Everyone takes him for granted. Everyone says he's not going to do it. Oh, this is ridiculous. And he's successful at doing it. Though, when you can replicate in different areas, that level of success, that is what goes to whether or not you're dealing with someone who's capable.
For me, I don't have the same reveriment. I think he's a corrupt businessman. He hurt a lot of people.
I agree with that. All those things are true.
I find
all those things are true. He's a corrupt businessman. Yes, but that doesn't mean he's an idiot.
Actually, I am convinced he's an idiot. I'm not.
Yes, but okay, this is what I'm saying. What is the basis of him being an idiot when he can do all
numerous times? I mean, if you don't even know as the president of the United States, the difference between
you don't know what he knows. You're just
okay, but what I do know is that's how he responded, and we've had that level of accountability.
You put a mirror up to yourself when you continue down that loop. Right, sure. Because he's not. Because what is your interest? What is your interest in trying to say he's stupid? He was held accountable for not keeping that promise. What is your interest in saying he's stupid? Seriously? This is like on the playground.
Well, no, I truly believe if you could throw out the law, any legal repercussions, your morals, ethics, any kind of positive attributes to a person, if you could throw all those out and not give a crap about those and anything being legal, I bet a lot of people could be successful.
Absolutely.
Like Trump. That doesn't make him smart. That just makes him immoral. Not a law-abiding, but a criminal con.
Beth, I agree. What you just said. Okay, couple of things. What you just said. Yes, it's easier to be successful if you have no boundary to what you're willing to do. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true.
I don't
also, but having no boundary in what you're willing to do doesn't mean you're going to be successful.
Okay,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, yes, you're right. It is easier to be successful if you have no boundary, and he has no boundary. I agree with that. Right?
Probably was going to say something,
but the difference is that you still have to have some talent to be successful. All right, and he has been successful in multiple arenas. This is what I'm speaking to, right?
Charlie, what were you going to say?
About what? No, I was just saying he wasn't. He was an abject failure until I believe it's Mark, the producer, who recreated this image through The Apprentice. I mean, he was not a successful businessman. He was a horrible businessman. He was an absolute failure.
I didn't say he was a successful buessman. What I said was that he was a success at life, though. No. Most of his life. What he was successful and why he was on the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous in 1993. Okay, right, is that he parlayed his association, his dad's real estate development business into into building a brand where he was claiming to be the face of luxury. Okay. And over the 90s, he was successful at doing that. Now, okay. And then when that ran its course over the 90s, he shifted into to get on television and was able to finagle NBC to give him that show. And
No. That's not the history at all. They chose him. He was their second choice initially.
yeah, well, yeah, no, I can. Look. You know,
That's not correct.
when someone has been married and had a successful marriage, and you want to debate over who asked who, that's fine. I'm not debating. Okay, they asked him. The idea is he said, "Oh yeah, this makes sense. This is going to help my brand." Right.
He had
So
no
whether
choice.
they asked,
He had no
no
brand
choice. He didn't
anymore.
have to do it. He made a choice. They offered him okay. So let's take what you said, Charlie, is true. They made him, hey, why don't you come on over here on the show? Right. He had to recognize it as an opportunity.
He didn't have any other opportunities at that point.
No.
Everything had failed.
Hey,
Everything had failed.
Charlie, all I'm saying, Charlie, all I'm saying to you here is the idea that he had no other alternative is ridiculous. The idea that he didn't make a choice, like he was forced, that NBC made him do it because he was either going to be homeless or come on them. No, stop it. I will concede because it doesn't change the point of whether they asked him or he asked them. So let's say they asked him. Okay. Can you get off after I finish what I'm saying? Because I'm responding to Charlie.
Red light.
Can I finish what I'm saying? I'm responding to Charlie's. Well, you're interrupting, Coach. Okay. So all I'm saying here is he recognized that as an opportunity that he could capitalize on, and he did capitalize on it in a very successful way. Okay. He announced publicly that he wanted to go into politics. He did it in the most lavish, ridiculous, obnoxious way and stuff like that. No one gave him a chance, and he's once again proved to be successful to do what no one thought could be done. Right? Okay, those type of things go to his capabilities. That's all I'm saying. And to say that he's stupid, that he's a crash dummy and stuff like that belies the level of success that he's been able to achieve in multiple mediums. It's just factually true, right? You don't have to like them for it to be true.
I stand by it.
Right? Stand by it. You could, Coach, you can, because ignorance works that way. I mean, you don't have to listen to me, but I'm not talking to you as much as I'm talking to the audience. Because you cannot.
But I want the audience to know I'm not retreating on this point.
No, you don't have to retreat on it because obstinance is not a virtue. Right? If you made an argument that actually was compelling,
and I've seen a lot of reasons to believe.
Everyone listen to this cast. Put it in the notes.
Please comment. Subscribe.
Yes, put it in the notes as to whether you think that a person can be stupid and achieve what Donald Trump has achieved in the areas that he's achieved it. I can't stand him. I differentiate between me liking him and me liking what he does from whether he's stupid, right? And I think that our listeners are thoughtful enough to differentiate it too. But I don't think that so far that much of the panel's arguments, and Charlie and Beth, you are much better at this because we had an understanding, the differentiation. I think we reached it. With you, Coach, you're deciding to be obstinate and just repeat yourself. Fine.
Further, I'm going to dig deeper. My mind, I'm going to dig deeper and see what conclusion I can do. But I will have to take time on that one because I'm not just going to say, "Oh yeah, I see the light."
But, stupid is a big word. Let's put it this way. I fully believe that on a standard IQ test, he'd be sub 100.
Oh no, I think we agree on that.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I don't know.
He would never take it, and he would never show you.
You're absolutely right, but I really believe
the results, or he would pay the results off, or something. Or we can agree he's not above any of that.
People portray people
this
as
is areas. This is speculation
being,
that we don't know anything about. We can't.
I'm just saying, as a whole, when we see confident people, we and they're confident, they say things, and they're so confident in themselves, it gives us little reason to doubt them. So thereby other people might see his confidence as intelligence, when really I think it's just, it's an intellectual, it's not
Well, I
really.
agree with, and I hope they don't see his confidence as intelligence, because I certainly think his confidence, it demonstrates hubris, but it doesn't seem to be informed. And what I am saying, and the measuring stick that I'm using for his capabilities, is the fact that he does actually state intentionally what he's going to do, and then he has a strong of achieving that. Now, that takes a certain level of talent, certain level of intelligence, certain level of capability, right? And he's demonstrated that multiple times, right? It wasn't easier for him to get elected the second time with all the indictments and everything hanging around his neck. And he got elected in a way that was even more impressive than the first time, right? And so all I'm saying here is that this is what I point to. It has nothing to do with the quality of the choices he makes. You know, Hitler won Man of the Time magazine's Man of the Year in 1938, and Time was not wrong. Hitler resuscitated Germany. He just hadn't become the killer of 6 million Jews and 20 million Soviets yet. But he did resuscitate Germany, right? Brilliance
Guys,
can be evil.
I think we can
you
continue
know.
this next week if anybody wants to, but unless,
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
can we do it next week?
Yeah, let's do it next week. But wrap it up, Coach. We're good.
Let's wrap it up. You've been listening to the Political No Brainer podcast team. Beth Burrows, Charlie Heinemann, Kevin Howard, incredible author and podcaster as well. And I really appreciate the time. I think this has been a fabulous conversation. I think we left a lot out still, but we're going on the time where it's time to wrap it up.
Time to go back and watch the war live on
Indeed.
TV.
Okay, guys.
Good to see you all.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
so
y'all.
much.
I'll see you next week. I'm
Yeah.
going to send out text.
Take,
Sounds
take
good.
care.